Article week 9 and put your first and last name right here on the top and start numbering your pages. Page 1, page 2, page 3, and on the very back, page 4. All right, we're going to be talking about communities and education. On page 1, we're really going to focus on how schools were in 1923, and we're going to compare it to schools now, how they are today in present time. So let's read page 1, called Education Then and Now. This story is a historical fiction. The characters are made up, but what they do is what real school children did in 1923 and do today. In Beaver Creek Schoolhouse, 1923. Did you remember to feed the chickens? And don't forget the stick of the wood. I heard Mama call from the kitchen as I headed out to the door. Quickly, I ran to the firewood stack and picked up a piece of wood. My teacher, Mrs. Bebb, expected students to bring a stick of wood each morning. Without wood to burn in the big stove in the classroom would be sure be cold. The walk to school today would not be an easy one. Flakes of snow drifted gently down. It was pretty enough now, but it would be cold and slushy this afternoon. I put my hands in my pocket. The sweet potato Mama baked for my lunch was still warm. I couldn't wait to get to school today. Every Friday after recess, all 30 of us kids would have a spelling bee. I really wanted to win, but I knew I might not be a match for Agnes. She was one of the older girls. She often helped the first and second graders with reading lessons in their primers. Mrs. Bebb even said Agnes would take the teacher's test next month. Then she could be a teacher too. As I entered the one-room building, I noticed my desk partner, Sarah, was already at work. Sarah was a first grader. She was practicing her letters and numbers on a little chalk tablet in her lap. Since I was already a third grader, I had to help if she needed it. Today, she was doing fine. So I started answering the history questions Mrs. Bebb put on the board. I wrote answers on the tablet for Albert Jenkins, a sixth grader, to check. Then it was time to stand in front of the class and recite my multiplication facts. I had been studying hard since last week when Mrs. Bebb frowned at me for stumbling over my 4 facts. Today I got them all right. Mrs. Bebb said, as a reward, I could take the erasers outside and beat the chalk dust out of them. Today was a great day at school. So you can see really what the schoolhouses looked like in 1923. And there's the stove that they needed to put the wood stick to keep it warm. And this is how the children sat. And these are the little books that they had and how they had their desk. All right, now we're going to read about Beaver Creek Elementary School, the same school, but how they learned today. Hurry up or you'll miss the bus, Mom called as she packed our briefcase. Don't forget to take your flash drive. Mrs. Ramsey is going to have each student save a history research project on it, she said. She grabbed the backpack and my lunch cart and hurried out the door. The bus ride to school seemed fast. Maybe it was because I was excited. Today was the day of the science fair. I was sure my project would win. I had spent hours on the internet in the media center researching how plants grow. Then I grew my own plants in the science lab. Mrs. Dalton, the science specialist, said that my idea was very original. She even asked what computer program I used to make the graph on my project board. In the classroom, I joined the rest of my group, and we practiced multiplication facts using flashcards and very cool website. Then we read our social studies magazine and finished a project about endangered animals in Texas. Mr. Ramsey worked with our group to make cause and effect chart. During PE, Coach Carrasco said that we were going to start a new fitness unit. Each student would get a special dance pad. Then a computer would show the dance move on a big screen monitor. We could all dance along. It was a fun way to exercise. After that, our class went to the computer lab. We used the internet to talk to families sailing around the world. The webcast was very interesting. We each got to use a computer microphone to ask a question about the family's travels. I couldn't believe I was talking to someone so far away. Finally, it was time to go to science fair. Even if I didn't win the top prize, this was still a great day at school. Alright, and this is kind of like more what it looks like today. Alright, we're going to go ahead and take out your sheet and answer the questions for today.